Hey guys, it's Gus from the After Dark Pod. I know you're thinking, why is there no music? Don't worry, everything is okay. Just stick with me. Hype's here in the back somewhere getting massaged like a Kobe beef cow, and Boobs is having dinner with the Soviet consulate. What? No, he told me to say that. Specifically told me to say that. Alright, anyway, fucking producers. I'm here to talk about our new sponsor, Horse Viagra. Have you been out on the pasture, but aren't the stud you once were? Use Horse Viagra. Call your lady friend talking to Seabiscuit late at night? Use Horse Viagra. She'll be too tired to be up late ever again. Did your horse just win the Triple Crown, but is too tired to earn you $500K for a breeding session? Use Horse Viagra today. Hello and welcome to the After Dark Podcast. I am your host, Gus. I am joined by Hype.
Hey, what's up?
And Booze. What's going on? Hello, Booze?
I don't want to talk to you right now.
Why not? What's going on, man?
You did it again.
What did I do?
You know you did it again.
I mean, it's a natural thing.
But always, listen, we even did the podcast early today. We did it earlier than we normally do, and you still had to poop for half an hour before we even started.
All right, hold on a second.
So now we're doing it at the same time we always do it.
Number one?
Because you're pooping.
Number one, I was waiting for my fucking brother. He was in the bathroom for like an hour, pooping and showering. And number two, I was in there for like 10 minutes. So fuck off, alright?
Doesn't matter.
I bet you between 7 and 7:30 is marked out in his calendar every day. Just shitting time. Shit time.
It's in his calendar as like time to just piss off Booze Man, I think is what it is. He might not even be pooping. He probably just mutes his mic and listens to me just get angry.
While I'm in the bathroom.
Would not doubt it. No, here's what gets under my skin even more is this whole corrupted file situation.
Oh.
How much porn do you have on your laptop? that this fucking shit is happening. Like, oh my god, dude. I woke up this morning, I'm ready to listen to the pod, I'm like, okay, let's see how it comes across, and Jesus, like, corrupted file, oh my god. You need to like, get that laptop taken in for service or something.
Number one, it's a desktop. Number two, I've actually like never looked in porn.
Oh Jesus!
Never looked at porn on this computer because the last computer I had, I think had a porn virus on it and like destroyed it. So like this computer has not been touched by porn, and it will not be touched by porn at all. It was just something with the file, you know, like or the recording. The recording fucked up. And now I downloaded an extra recording files just in case, an extra recording software. So now I'm going to have two files to record from. So there you go. That's dedication. I apologize. Jesus. What was that?
That's what I think. That's me corrupting this podcast.
Yeah.
Friggin'.
Oh my God.
I swear to God, man, if this one corrupts on both of your stupid recording things, I'm going off.
I'm mad. That's what I'm telling you. I'm mad because, I'm not joking. Last night there was some gold in there. Believe it or not, After Dark podcast listeners, there were some moments of gold last night. And now here we are re-recording, and it's like deja vu. We're going to be talking about some of the same shit.
It can't be replicated. Like, I could make the same joke, but I'm not going to get the same reaction.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
It's just not going to come across the same way.
No, I agree, and I apologize to you guys, but it wasn't my fault. Technically, I mean, I don't know. I apologize in advance, and that's why we're here today, to try to give the listeners an actual episode, so we don't fuck it up. At least we weren't doing anything, like, important. We were just doing questions with Booze, that's about it. So, not like it mattered, right?
Man, Larry Johnson, you guys pissed me off yesterday.
Oh man, oh my God, Larry Johnson like murdered one of your relatives or something, dude.
Yeah, you went off on that.
Fucking like 5 minutes of just like, I'm gonna find where he lives. I'm gonna fucking hide out in the bushes. I'm gonna murder him. Oh my God.
I think
listen,
it was
I just don't like him. and that's all there is to it. I'm not going to do what I did yesterday because I don't have the energy, but I just don't like him.
It's actually better that we might be better because
that guy led me to a fantasy title though 1 year. Not gonna lie.
And then ruined other people's seasons the next 5 years.
True enough, but still.
It's actually better we might be recording because yesterday I was so down and depressed about Dwayne Wade that I was legit quiet for 20 minutes. So
we fucking railed you on that too. We should still just do that.
Yeah, you probably will.
Bring up Dwayne Wade.
All right, so what do you guys want to talk about?
Wait, what happened with Dwayne Wade? I don't know what.
Yeah, Gus, why don't you tell us?
Oh yeah, that guy Dwayne Wade. He signed with the Chicago Bulls, 2-year, $47 million sheet on the offer on the sheet, excuse me, and which was $7 million more than the Heat offered him. So yeah, he got his money, and he's going to be a Chicago Bull next year. And
he's going home.
I'm very sad about it. It's like a legend leaving. So it was one thing where I have to adjust, and I got used to it, and I'm not as down as much anymore. I got over it pretty fast. But he did what I think was the right move for him. So give him some.
Yeah, credit. I mean, well, we're gonna we'll talk a little bit more about who we foresee being one of the top, the couple of top teams next year. But that Eastern Conference, the Heat, the way they were structured at the moment, they weren't gonna win the title or threaten for the title, I don't think.
Here's the question.
It's about money and going home.
Let me ask you this, because I saw some rumors on Twitter today. It's actually probably kind of good that the podcast messed up, that Gus absolutely just ruined the podcast yesterday. Is it good? Because now they were saying Kevin Durant might not be able to sign with the... So if Hassan Whiteside says, never mind, I'm not signing with the Heat, I'm going to go elsewhere. If somebody else gives him I think if he goes to the Mavs and the Mavs give him a max contract, then other teams won't have enough money to sign the people that they were dumping, that the Warriors were dumping, and then there won't be enough money to give Kevin Durant his contract.
So the chain reaction on that was
he signed though, didn't he though?
Yes. Well, I'll get to that real quick.
Okay.
Hassan
Thank you,
Whiteside, let's say he got a second op. He joins the Mavericks. He throws off the Heat because of Wade leaving. So he joins the Mavericks. In that case, the Mavericks couldn't afford to keep Harrison Barnes. That means Harrison Barnes is going to stick back in Golden State, and then Kevin Durant couldn't sign in Golden State. But as Hype said earlier, Hassan Whiteside he just literally signed today. So he's officially on the roster for the next 4 years. And I think Harrison Barnes, to that whole thing, Harrison Barnes already, he signed the contract. And it was up to the Golden State to, rebuke it or, match it.
Match it or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that whole thing would have been false anyway.
Well, do you guys think that, I'll just dive right in. Look, I know they're signing Durant, and they've signed Durant. I know, we're going to talk about that. But does losing Harrison Barnes while adding Durant, how much better does that actually make them, is my question. It makes them better. I mean, I'm not going to contend with that at all. But they are losing a piece that was, a decent piece in that offense. I think they get better, but do they get, they're taking a piece away and adding a piece. How much better do they get, do you think? Or is that a dumb question?
I think it's a great question, and I think that Golden State gets immensely better. I can't see them losing much. Harrison Barnes, as good as he was, he played a great role for them. He was a good defender. He was a good shooter, and he was good at his inside. Had a decent inside game. But Kevin Durant, being a 7'2" shooting type, who can also drive inside because he's 7 feet tall, is just going to bring more to the table than Harrison Barnes ever could. And it's also just a matter of skills. I think Kevin Durant is one of the premier talents in the NBA, whether it be shooting, whether it be defending. I mean, he's just so long. He can guard people at the three that he's going to be 6-8 inches taller than. Not 8, but you get my point. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not outside the realm of possibility for him to guard like a 6'6" 3 guard, and he's pushing 7 feet. And he's going to easily be 6 inches taller.
Wingspan and everything, yeah.
And so to lock somebody down, to have somebody at the 3 locking down somebody who is significantly smaller than him at another 3 position is immensely helpful. Well, I don't know. Gus, what do you think?
I think they're going to be much better just because of the way they play. I mean, obviously Durant in himself is an MVP. He is probably, if you don't think he's the second best player, then he's the third best player in the league. So it just depends on your opinion of Curry and Durant. But having a player like him is just going to make that team go through the roof. I don't think, as far as their overall season record's going to go, I'm not going to predict that they get 73 wins again or past that, just because it's so difficult and all the injuries and all the, honestly, all the luck that's involved in going into something like that. But I think when the playoffs roll around and they start playing their best ball, they're going to be really, really hard to stop. Just because if Steph Curry's going to have another off game in the finals, they can just pass to Durant and he'll get 30 points. Or, oh, look, Durant's not having a good game, or Clay's not having a good game, then give it to Curry and Draymond. That team's just so dangerous, man. It's like, you just pick your poison on that team. If you want to cover Durant, then you're screwed by Curry. If you want to cover Curry, you're screwed by Durant and Clay. And, like, it sucks. Not that it sucks for Clay and Draymond, because they're great players in their own right. You can say that they're both top 15 players themselves. But it's also going to... It sucks just because they're not going to get the respect because they're not as good as those other two guys. But as I said, if you're going to try to cover Durant and Curry, like, they're just going to have a field day killing you. So it's just all about picking your poison.
I think the most important piece of that team this coming year is going to be Steve Kerr. As crazy as that might sound, he's going to have to find a way to make sure everyone, and I don't think it will be too problematic, but to make sure everyone is content with their role. Then on top of that, I think the more important thing is, and what they didn't do this year necessarily, he needs to balance chasing records and keeping players fresh and healthy for that playoff run. Curry, a lot of people have said he just wasn't the same player. Injuries and his legs weren't under him in that final series, and he definitely didn't look like the same. I think Steve Kerr is going to have to do a lot more coaching this coming season than he did this year, where he just kind of rolled out players and they just kind of did their thing.
And broke clipboards too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was crazy. Yeah. So that's huge because I definitely think Golden State has the inside track on going back to the finals, and contending for another championship. So especially with the addition of Durant.
To one of your points where you're saying that he's going to have to coach all these personalities, I don't know Klay Thompson. All of them seem to be very level-headed guys. I know Draymond Green is a fiery competitor, which can be good in this case just because he's so competitive that he doesn't give a shit about having the ball. He just wants to win, And Durant's also he's played with Westbrook, who is a very alpha personality. And Durant is a very, he's not that he's not alpha, but he's very willing to work with his team and facilitate a little bit more than a Westbrook, to make sure that the team wins. Yeah. I just think all those personalities on the team, there's not going to be one guy saying, I need the ball. They're just going to work well with each other, I think.
Yeah, I think it's minor, but the one thing I did notice, a little bit in Game 7 and some of the moments in the playoffs, it's a similar problem that the Thunder had, where at the end of games or in late game situations, they didn't move the ball the same. And in that last Game 7, we saw Steph Curry was trying to go into hero mode and jacking up shots that really he could have just passed the ball or maybe looked for Clay or someone else. I don't know if that's going to be an issue. I don't think it's a huge issue, but it is something to consider. Like, you have Durant, you have Curry, you have Thompson. Who's going to get the ball at the end of a game, and are they going to just want to jack it up, or are they going to want to throw, make a pass if that's what's necessary?
I have a quick argument up for that, real quick, Boozman. I understand when
I didn't say anything.
Oh no, I'm just I don't
fuck
know if you
Boozman, shut the fuck up.
Shut up, all right?
I have a quick argument, Boozman. I didn't get to say anything, but go ahead.
All right, so
You interrupted me before I could even say anything. It was amazing.
There you go. That's right. That's my job. Anyway, so I wanted to kind of not dispel that theory that people it's when at the end of the game they should be playing hero ball and they should be playing their offense, which is understandable. Normally when you play your offense you have better shots. But when it comes down to crunch time, especially in that last Game 7 of the finals, you want those guys to have the ball. You want Curry, you want LeBron to have the ball. And we saw it in the Game 7 finals where LeBron was playing hero ball too, and he was missing some layups. And Kyrie, luckily, he was playing hero ball, and he made that great, fantastic shot. And then, obviously, Curry, he was playing hero ball too, and he missed. And he got guarded up by Kevin Love, so that's pretty damn embarrassing.
Exactly. So. It's not even about... He was just taking... I know we've seen him make clutch shots, but he's just taking awkward shots. LeBron's been knocked for it at times for passing the ball in clutch situations. You do want those big names to have the ball, those big players. That's why they're the big-time players. But yeah, I mean, you still have to get a decent look. Don't force it. Pass it and then get in position to get the ball back for a better look. So there's ways to go about that where if you think about the game a little better, you might get a little better outcome. Anyway.
Well, I think for LeBron in that stance.
No, Gus, I get to talk.
Hold on, one thing.
God!
I think for LeBron in that case, I think it was just him trying to win the title for Cleveland. I think that got in his mind.
Yeah,
and that kind of clouded him. All right, go Booze.
Yeah.
No, I didn't really have anything to say.
Oh.
My point, I was just going to ask this. My only thought as you were talking about, you mentioned Steve Kerr, and then I thought, man, they've got like some good pieces that might be able to run the triangle. So do you think that they attempt something like that? Like they make Durant kind of a Pippen role, and Draymond or Clay as the bigger guy in that equation?
I mean, they could, because Draymond Green is such a fantastic passer as a big. But, I mean, doesn't the triangle really need a center? Like to work with?
The Bulls, those 90s Bulls teams didn't really have a dominant center by any means. They had, the Bill Wenningtons of the world, or the Luke Longley. Luke Longley. Yeah, I remembered that.
Maybe they run Durant, a 7-foot shooter, as that role.
I mean, you need a body that can get the occasional bucket at the basket, rebound, and just throw the ball out. Rodman played that role a little bit.
Rodman was fantastic at that role.
Yeah. All he had to do was rebound and get the ball and kick it out. And occasionally, if he gets a good look at the basket, put it in. Yep. So, Shaq, and when they tried to run the triangle in LA with Shaq, it was a little different than the traditional triangle. Because he's so dominant, you want him to just get on the block and, back guys in and do stuff. Yeah. So, I just think what Durant allows them with what they have is just a lot of flexibility. They can really they can almost run whatever they want in a lot of ways and get away with it.
Yeah, and also I just think if it's not broke, don't fix it. They won 73 games last year. They won the title the year before. They got to the finals last year. If they don't have to run the triangle. They're doing fine with whatever they're doing. So,
but they lost the MVP, Andrew Bogut.
That's true. They did lose the MVP.
True. The greatest player in the history of basketball.
Yeah.
Yes.
According to the podcast.
Yes.
All right, that's fair. I think with how basketball is played nowadays, the triangle would almost be kind of just pointless.
Yeah.
Because it's so rare that you find a true center in the league anymore. A guy who can just only score from the paint and gets lucky from a mid-range shot. I don't think that there's anyone that isn't at least decent from mid-range. A guy the closest thing I would think is a Zach Randolph or a DeMarcus Cousins.
There you go. Zach Randolph could do it. Yeah.
Zach Randolph could absolutely do it, but I think he's still good from mid-range or a little closer.
Speaking of Memphis and Marc Gasol as well, he's a very crafty guy.
That's true.
Speaking of DeMarcus Cousins, there's some news going on in the world that the Cleveland Cavaliers are interested in said DeMarcus Cousins in a trade deal. Sign and trade, whatever. A deal for DeMarcus Cousins and sending Kevin Love over there. Now, do you have any exact players or exact information about that, Boozman? Do you know what would be sent? Or is it?
I just know that it involved Kevin Love. I don't know if there were actual people involved yet. I just saw it and it said that the Cavaliers are in talks with getting DeMarcus Cousins and a trade involving Kevin Love. So I don't know if there's a ton of news on it yet. I don't know there's really anything to talk about yet. But I just know that there's talks being had about that happening, and I think that team, if you get a solid 5 who can also kind of play the 4 on that team, and DeMarcus Cousins, man, he's like the Shaq body type, shorter, but that Shaq body type is huge lower body, who's just going to power and just wear guys down at the post while he still stays fresh, because that's what he does. I think if you bring somebody in like that, that team is going to be, in all seriousness, I think they'd be better than Golden State because they have that inside threat.
I agree with that. What I was going to say is, as of right now, the way things are stacked up, Golden State would be my pick to win the finals. But that being said, a super early pick, obviously. But that being said, if DeMarcus Cousins does somehow end up in Cleveland and they don't pay much more than Kevin Love, I think the edge would go back to Cleveland in my book. Because with him and Tristan Thompson in the middle, oh my gosh, doing defense and rebounding, I don't see how Golden State can do too much to combat that.
Yeah, I have a few thoughts on that. Number one is it would depend, as the hype said, on what exactly they're giving up, because I know Sacramento wants to get rid of Cousins. They're not keen on his personality, if you will. But I don't know if it would just be Kevin Love. It would have to be a little more, I would think.
Agreed. Yeah.
And then number 2, man, that interior, just with DeMarcus Cousins and Tristan Thompson beating them up front inside, I think that's the way you beat Golden State with this team of shooting threes all the time. I think you just have to pound them down and inside. And also, can you imagine DeMarcus Cousins, the best center in the league, doing pick and rolls with Kyrie Irving and LeBron James every fucking play? Dude, that'd be insane. It wouldn't even be fair. That's all-star stuff. You just lob it up to Cousins, or LeBron James drives it in for a layup or a dunk. That's like a cheat code almost. You can say Curry's a cheat code with his threes, but man, I would just love to see that pick and roll every single play. That would be my offense. All right, this turn it's Kyrie Irving for DeMarcus Cousins pick and roll. Then on the next play, it's LeBron James for DeMarcus Cousins pick and roll. Man, that's just easy offense.
Yeah, it would end up being 2 stacked teams, and I wrote, I had something published on the Fantasy Life app blog this, yesterday, I believe it was, or 2 days ago. I wrote it's basically a poem about just missing football and sports being in this vacuum or this void. And one of the things I mentioned was, can we just skip to the NBA finals? Cause it's that's when we want to watch basketball. It looks honestly if things go the way they're kind of going, it looks like it's just going to be Cleveland and Golden State again. And we're going to have to suffer through a regular season and watch all these other also-rans, basically do nothing. There's some interesting storylines. Derrick Rose, seeing how he fits in New York. Dwayne Wade being in Chicago, I think, is just an interesting story.
Shut the fuck up.
There's other teams that people are intrigued by, but for the most part, I don't see how those 2 teams don't make it to the finals without some kind of catastrophic injury.
Yeah, if I was an Eastern Conference team, I would just try to not even try to win now, quote unquote. Just rebuild. You're not going to win against the Cavs. Come on, the Cavs have it on lock. Especially if
5-year plan.
Yeah, especially if they have DeMarcus Cousins. If they get him, I would feel bad for Kevin Love, I guess, but that team just would be unstoppable. So I don't know.
I don't know, man. I like the new Bulls and the Knicks. The new Bulls, the new Knicks. I think if those teams can get it together, I think it creates a definite interesting possibility. I think Derrick Rose, if he can settle into a new role where he's more of a Chris Paul type, I think he has the passing skills to do that. I think he just needs to slow down a little bit. He's not Derrick Rose of old. I think he would know that, and I think we all know that. Yeah. He's just dealt with too much injury. But I think, him, Joakim Noah, Carmelo, Kristaps Porzingis, that's a good team. They just need to learn how to play together. Carmelo needs to be less Kobe, in that he demands the ball in the last few seconds. And, Carmelo just hasn't been the same for years. Ever since he went to New York, He's just been bad.
I wouldn't say bad, but I know what you mean.
Well, but yeah, I mean, he's not been. I wouldn't even put Carmelo in the top 10. Yeah, I wouldn't put Carmelo in the top 10 anymore.
For sure, not for me.
Not even close, no.
But before, I mean, his early years at the Knicks and before that, he was definitely, without a doubt, a top 10 player. Just what he brought to any team. But I think he's just got a little too Carmelo-centric and only worried about himself. I think if he can get out of that role, he's got a great supporting cast. And then I think the new Bulls could do well as well. I mean, Rajon Rondo is no slouch. I mean, he can pass the ball. He's not a great shooter because he's got like giant like tree frog hands. But he's got Dwayne Wade. I don't remember who else they just got, but that team does not look bad. Oh, Jimmy Butler. So they didn't just get Jimmy Butler, but they have Jimmy Butler, and I think that team could do some real damage. I mean, we saw Dwayne Wade last season and in the playoffs. I mean, he's not done yet. He can still, I mean, he's definitely not with the Heat anymore, Gus. Never forget that. But I think
never forget. Bitch.
I think
never forget, bitch.
I think he knows his role. I think he knows what he can bring to a team. His first step is still fast it's still fast. It's not when it needs to be. It's not like he's not fast when it's convenient for him. That first step is fast when he decides to kick it on.
I just want to see how the dynamic between Jimmy Butler and Dwayne Wade's going to work, because if you think Derrick Rose and Butler were butting heads sometimes, Dwayne Wade's kind of a similar player he's better than Rose for sure, don't get me wrong, but he's also a slasher. He's more of a facilitator too as well, but I don't know. Dwayne Wade can make it work, don't get me wrong, but I just want to see how that works out in itself. And as far as the Knicks, I don't like Carmelo, so he can go fuck himself.
I mean, that's fair too.
I'm not going to pretend to know. I'm not going to pretend to know all the ramifications of the contracts and the money in the Bulls situation, but I don't know if they would have been able to get Dwayne Wade if they had kept Pau Gasol. But I feel like I would have a lot more confidence in that roster if they had a guy like Pau Gasol as a big, because of the experience he brings. And he just has a really, easygoing, calm way about playing the game. He can be intense and fiery at times, but he goes about the game in a really workmanlike fashion where he will get buckets and points, when you need them from him, and he will just make smart plays. I feel like if they had a piece like that, if they had kept him and still been able to bring in Wade, I feel like that team would be really formidable. As it stands, with kind of, three smaller guys, a little less intimidating, but it'll be interesting to see how they mesh, as you guys mentioned.
I have one question real quick. Going back to Golden State.
What?
Let's say Durant is there for 2 years, and, for the 2 years, let's say. If Durant and the Golden State does not win a title in 2 years, do you think A, Durant stays, leaves, and B, do you think his legacy would die, or it would go down the drain just because he went to a quote unquote super team?
Absolutely, without a doubt. I think because he left and went somewhere, took less money than other teams were offering him, I think that means he wants to win, and if he doesn't, it's over for him. I think his name, his credibility is just done. He becomes the problem at that point. It's not like, oh, I just never had a good enough supporting cast, or I just never had the right coach, blah blah blah. I mean, this team has won and has competed with the top level of basketball. If they don't win with that team, and they did all they could to bring Kevin Durant in, he becomes the problem, I think. I mean, as talented and as good as he is, and we all know how good he is, we've all seen it, but because he left to win a championship, if he doesn't win it, then he becomes the problem.
Do you think
is my firm belief.
Do you think he stays or goes?
If he doesn't, I think he goes. He's hungry for a ring. That's all he wants. He doesn't have one to his name, and I think if you're going to be one of the all-time greats, you have to have a ring.
I could see. It's so complicated to try to predict the future, but I could see if he doesn't win, I think he leaves. First of all, fair or not, I think his legacy would be tarnished. Similar to LeBron initially, but here's the thing: you can still come out of that and recover. You know, LeBron was even welcomed back into Cleveland, and then now he has them a title, and everybody loves him. And
Yeah, but
I think
LeBron won 2 titles in Miami, though.
No, he did, and that's the thing. But here's the thing: even if Durant doesn't win in Golden State in a year or two, whenever, and then he bails, if he goes to a franchise that is beleaguered, that maybe I'm just going to throw it out there. It's been rumored. I'm not saying this is the team, but if he went to like a team like the Lakers, where he's kind of the aging veteran now. If Ingram develops, if Russell develops, they have some younger guys in a couple of years who are better, and he goes there and he's like that piece that they need to get over the top and be a contender, and maybe even win a title. It might not be that team, but a team similar to that makeup that's right now maybe not in the picture, but could be in the picture if they had Kevin Durant. He could. I think he could salvage his reputation. I think he could salvage at least some of what would be tarnished at that point. Because we're really quick to forgive. I mean, let's not pretend like we've been appalled at players before for certain things, and then turned around a couple of years later and been completely rooting for them to win it all, or completely rooting for them to have that redemption story. Probably Thunder fans won't. I mean, to be honest, I think we all would agree with that. But other fans of other teams could be like, man, this guy, he really did. He went to Golden State not for the money, but to win a ring, and he didn't get it. Like, now I want to see him get it. So, yeah, I think he still has time because he's young enough. Even if he doesn't win in Golden State, he can still have that redemption story. But if he doesn't win in Golden State, I do not see him sticking around past a year or two.
Actually, it's funny you bring up the Oklahoma City Thunder fans, because to that point, I would think that right now that they're super bitter, just like how Cleveland fans were when LeBron left to Miami.
Precisely.
All burning of the jerseys. At least he didn't get his owner bitching at him behind, on an open letter to the fans. So the thing
True.
is,
He could go back there. I mean, he could go back there and be like, hey, I made a mistake. I'm back. Let's win. And if he did it, everything's forgiven. I mean, let's be honest. That's how sports work.
Yeah, but I think to your point, I think Westbrook will be gone, and I think the Thunder would be more of a rebuild.
Oh, yeah.
So it would depend on what the situation is there.
Exactly. Precisely.
So I know I asked the question, but I'm going to be like the loaded answer here. But as far as him leaving, I think if, let's say he doesn't win the finals, but he gets there 2 years in a row and loses to LeBron, I think he would stay. Just because, it's the best. Where else would he go and then try to beat the Golden State again? He doesn't want to face that hurdle, I don't think. So that's
go to the East. LeBron will be old by then.
Yeah, I guess. But so he'll be getting up there.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I'm surprised people are. I know he's not as good as LeBron, and LeBron was like the second coming of Michael Jordan when he came out of high schools. But I'm surprised Kevin Durant isn't put in that same category where, if he never wins a ring, he'll be like, he's not as good as any of these guys because he never wins.
He's made it to 1 finals. That's why he's not in that discussion.
That's fair.
Well,
I mean, he hasn't made it to the show. He's made it to the show only 1 time. So I mean, you can't put somebody in the elite discussion having only made it to the final round of the playoffs 1 time in their career.
Well, we're in a point right now though too where not just that, we've seen his team collapse at the end of games. So he has that label too going on right now. At least it's fresh in our minds that he doesn't close games well necessarily. So, or that his team that he's the one supposed to be leading doesn't close games well. So that's another label or reputation that he's going to have to kick in order to get over that hurdle as well.
That's true. All right.
Yeah.
I think we've had a lot of basketball talk today. What do you guys think? On to the next segment.
Yeah, a lot of basketball for being over.
A lot of basketball for talking it all over again. Jesus.
There's just so much, but teams reshaping and the just unbelievable amount of money and contracts this year that we've seen already to just crap players.
It's just like they're just shitting money out as much as Gus shits out whatever, and just throwing it at players like left and right. It's
Come
insane.
on, let's not be stupid. There is not nearly as much money going on as Gus shits.
Good point. I apologize. I used hyperbole way too much there.
Yes, and that's what I appreciate about the NBA, where one team, when one player goes somewhere, automatically becomes a title contender, which is nice. But it seems like the Golden State and the Cavs are going to form super teams, like especially if DeMarcus Cousins goes. So, all right, time for some questions with the Booze Man. But first, we're going to talk about our new sponsor, Horse Viagra. Have you been out on the pasture but aren't the stud you once were? Use Horse Viagra today, only $9.99. All right, Booze Man.
$9.99.
Yeah, $9.99. That's a steal, dude.
It's a great deal. I'm telling you, these guys are good.
Man,
hey, before I get into my segment, you guys play Pokemon Go?
Legit?
Yeah, Pokemon Go is fantastic.
Dude, I'm enjoying it so much.
My God.
I'm going to check it right now. Let's see if the servers are down.
Oh, my God.
No, mine are working, but there's no Pokemon near me right now. It's kind of infuriating.
Just walk out with your computer. Just walk out there. Tell us if you find anything.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Let me pull up my questions. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for everyone's favorite segment, Questions with Booze Man. This week we had a lot of questions come to us from Twitter, emails, through our chat on the Fantasy Life app.
Hell yeah.
If you want to submit questions, you can DM them to me on Twitter at After Dark Pod. You can find our chat on the Fantasy Life app. It is called After Dark Podcast. And I believe our email is afterdarknoreservations@gmail.com.
That is correct.
So feel free to send us questions on any of those mediums, and we'll try and fit as many of them as we can on the podcast. All right, let's get it going. First question comes to us from @JJK on the Fantasy Life app. He asks, @Boozeman, why does everyone like CJ Anderson when he has only had a handful of good games in his career?
I will field this one. I am not I thought about it. I'm not a huge CJ Anderson fan myself. I'll preface this by saying I'm a little biased because he did burn me last year. He was one of my keepers in my main keeper league, and obviously he kicked the shit out of my team. I just don't have a lot of faith in him. I don't think Denver themselves have a lot of faith in him. I think we have these small snippets. His big run last year, I think it was in overtime to win a game. He has these big moments that are kind of fresher in our minds because of the end of the season. But overall, I am not sold on CJ Anderson. I'm not sold on his durability, and I'm not sold on just what he's going to bring to fantasy owners to be drafted in the first 2 or 3 rounds even.
I hate CJ Anderson. I want to get that out there. I actually had him in 2014 when he broke out.
That was great. Yeah. I had him then too.
Yeah, I had him for those last stretch of games, but going into 2015 when people wanted to draft him in the first round, I was not very high on him just because I like to have some safety issues. Like I have to be safe in that first round. So that's when I didn't draft him, I was so happy to see him, fall and poop and shit to where he is now. So my thing with C.J. Anderson is he doesn't always seem to have like full lock on the job. He's not going to get consistent touches, and with Mark Sanchez as your quarterback, you're definitely going to have 8 guys in the box every time. So C.J. Anderson is a no-go for me. He fucking sucks. So there you go. That's my answer.
Fuck.
All right. Well, you both just said the same thing.
Hold on a second. CJ, I know you're listening. You fucking suck. You're trash. Oh, garbage.
I can't believe you're calling out CJ. He's one of our biggest fans.
Yeah, but
you're calling him out like that?
You know what? He needs some motivation, He's garbage, dude. Let's see him put up a Twitter message about me.
Yeah, you know what, wow. CJ? Stop smiling so fucking much. God.
No one cares.
Look mean.
You guys are really laying into CJ Anderson right now.
He fucked my fantasy team over last year.
CJ, I didn't own you in fantasy, and I genuinely think you're a nice guy. I look forward to hanging out next week. I'll talk to you later, man. Anyways, because you guys basically just said the same thing, I'm not even going to award a point for that question. So, no points. 0-0 still.
Fuck you, CJ Anderson.
Jesus, come on.
0 points. Exactly how many points you're going to have for fantasy owners.
Oh my God.
Okay. Maybe
anyways, second question also comes to us from the Fantasy Life app. This one comes to us from D_00. D is in dog _00. He says, at Boozman, what should be your strategy if your fantasy league is full of traditional fantasy players? And by that he means taking quarterbacks and running backs very early in the draft.
Then draft the best player available. I'd say draft those 2 or 3 stud wide receivers. And you can always, granted, you'll be a little behind on the running back position. But as far as quarterbacks are concerned, you can get them late. I always suggest getting them late, unless you're me, because I like to get those middle-tier guys that have the potential to be a top 5 or so. So that's just me. But I really should do it myself, and I recommend getting quarterbacks late anyway. But as far as running backs, you might be behind on them, but I think with the overall advantage you have at wide receivers, will just make up for it anyway. So just draft best player available, get those stud wide receivers, and just get ready for the championship, baby.
Do your homework. Do some mocks. I like to figure out my players, so I like to do. Here's my tier 1 running backs. Here's that batch that if they start, if it's a situation where there's 1 or 2 left, and I really want to get one of them, then maybe. But I definitely think wide receiver is probably the way to go early. In the NFL today, the way that the league is structured and the way things are going. You can't go wrong really at a wide receiver position as long as that guy stays healthy. Tier out your running backs. If you're coming around in that second round and one of those guys is still there and there's been a run on some of those running backs, then you might go running back. But otherwise, I guess agree with Cass, but it doesn't hurt to go wide receiver heavy the first couple of rounds, because those guys, especially if it's a standard league, okay, that's one thing, PPR, whatever. But those guys are going to rack up points in the modern NFL.
All right.
Fuck you, Booze.
Well, that one seemed to me that you guys said the same thing again. So I guess I've no points awarded for that one either.
Fuck you, C.J. Anderson.
That had nothing to do with what?
Stop fucking smiling.
God damn it, dude.
CJ, I am legitimately sorry.
I can hear.
I can't stop him. He's not here.
I can hear it from Denver. It's fucking annoying.
God, you guys are hostile today. All right, next one comes to us.
Pornography on Gus's goddamn desktop.
That's right.
Ruining our fucking podcast.
This is crazy
Guys,
shit too.
Chill for a second.
Stop jerking off on a keyboard too.
Me?
No, Gus.
No, I like to keep it clean. I use wipes.
Okay. All right.
Oh, come on, God. Anyway, next question comes to us from @TrippyG on the Fantasy Life app.
I like Trippy G.
Check out his
food.
Check out his food chat, man. I get hungry getting in there. It's delicious.
What is it? Fantasy Life Foodies? FL Foodies?
FL Foodies chat, man. It's delicious in there.
Dude, it's awesome.
I'm gonna jump in there right now.
He said, "No, you're not. You're answering questions, you idiot."
And then
I can do 2 things at once.
But then you want to go to the fridge. It's delicious.
Oh, good point.
Okay. Question from Trippy G. He says, @Boozman, assuming I almost said Brock Lesnar. What's his last name? Assuming Brock Osweiler fits in well with the Texans' offense, is it crazy to assume that they have a solid chance at making it to at least their conference championship?
Yes. There's no way I see the Texans doing too much more than they did last year. Osweiler's a huge question mark still. If he does play decently, and Lamar, Miller's back there, I just don't see that that's enough to get over the hump. They got some lucky breaks last year. I can't have a lot of faith in Houston, generally speaking.
Trippy G, you're a great user. I know you have that good food chat going, and I know you're a Houston Texans fan. I'm going to assume you are, honestly, because you asked this question. But I don't see it. I love Lamar Miller going there. He was a Dolphin. I know how good he can be. He's going to be a great PPR back for you guys. He's going to get all the checkdowns in the world. But if I'm not mistaken, you guys lost 30-0 to the Chiefs in the playoffs last year. 30-0. Your secondary is garbage. And in a league like this now in the NFL, you need a decent secondary to get anywhere. So that is my answer to that question. Respect to the Texans, and not only that, but the Colts are going to be much better too. So I don't know. I don't think the Colts are getting anywhere farther than they did last year.
All right. Well, I think you guys just said the same thing again.
We did. Because we're right.
We're smart. We know what we're talking about.
Oh my god.
No points.
Oh my god.
No
CJ
points
Anderson,
awarded.
shut up. I can hear him. It's fucking
What?
Fucking CJ Anderson.
Running his mouth more than he runs for yards. Jesus.
Guys, just let me get through this, please.
Tell CJ to shut up then. God.
I can't. He's not with us live right now. You just need to relax.
I can hear him.
Anyways. That one was a tie as well. No points awarded because you both basically just said the same thing.
The fuck?
I can't name a winner if you guys just both repeat what each other said.
Yeah, but
I don't want to be wrong.
we're not wrong here.
Exactly. I don't want to make shit up.
But if you both win, then it's still a tie. So why not
Here's
just
the thing.
award no points?
If I say something and Gus says the opposite, but I'm right, I'm going to get the point.
Very
Because I'm right. You don't want to fucking give the point away just because you want to be different.
Anyways, regardless, no points awarded. Still 0-0. This one comes to us from an email. He's at OBJ13 on the Fantasy Life app. He would like to know, who do you guys like more this year, DeAndre Hopkins or Odell Beckham Jr.?
Odell Beckham Jr., next question.
CJ Anderson?
Shut up. Oh my god.
You like CJ Anderson better than both of those guys? You just spent 10 minutes bashing.
Oh, I thought we were picking somebody to kill. I thought this was Fuck, Marry, Kill. My bad. I had a flashback to like 2 pods ago. It's Odell Beckham. I mean, we don't know what Osweiler's going to bring to the table. I'm still pissed off at DeAndre a little bit about his I should get paid for fantasy football winnings comment. So
yeah, where's my money when I lose?
I'm going OBJ. Exactly.
I had DeAndre Hopkins on my team last year, and I was like 2-12. So where's my money?
Actually, I think CJ Anderson owes me like $50. Speaking of which,
actually, CJ Anderson, thank you for $400 that year, but fuck you.
Fuck. Yeah. But yeah, it's OBJ. I mean, come on. I'm not a fan of him. I don't like his personality, but it's him. He's a better fantasy pick.
All right. Next question. I don't even know and by the way, that one, you guys said the same thing again, so no points awarded.
Who's going to pick DeAndre Hopkins in that situation? OBJ is like the only player in the league.
DeAndre Hopkins' mother?
Yeah.
In all seriousness, I think I would rather have Nuke in that one. In all seriousness.
Really? Please explain yourself.
Because I think Sterling Shepard is going to have a bigger presence in that offense. Because, listen, OBJ is just going to be double teamed. They're going to double team OBJ and make the rookie do some work. So I think Sterling Shepard is going to have a lot to say in that offense, and he's going to take away. And Nuke is the only option there. I mean, he and Lamar Miller, and Nuke is just going to get the ball like 195 times a year.
See, I totally agree with you with the Shepard thing, and I've said this before actually in a headquarters chat. But the deal is, Lamar Miller coming in, if they use him wisely, he'll get some of those dump off passes. And we're talking about Osweiler. That's the big cog in the whole machine. I do not trust him. I mean, yeah, if you're just going to toss it up and hope Nuke goes and gets it, which he can, but I don't until I see what he does. My confidence in him is very low.
You guys saw it.
I don't disagree with that, but I think the ceiling is higher for Nuke, just slightly. I mean, they're both going to be top 5 receivers on the year. It's just a matter of who edges out the other. And I think Nuke has a little bit higher of a ceiling. I think he's a bigger receiver, and I tend to just bigger receivers can make more plays over the top of smaller defenders and blah blah blah. But that's. My opinion doesn't matter because I cannot win. I possibly cannot win a point, and I can't win the questions.
I don't believe you.
Anyways, these questions come to us from Jetty. He sent like 6 questions.
Yes, Jetty.
But the regarding or the
Special Olympics contestant.
The subject line. I don't want to. They say questions with needle dick. And I don't like that. I don't like it, and I don't like Jetty. I almost don't want to ask his questions because he asked a bunch, but I'll pick one here that I like. All right, I'll just go with this one. Which do you guys prefer, The Office or Parks and Rec?
The Office.
God damn it, The Office.
For sure.
Oh, wow.
I just do. I can't fucking go against my heart.
Yeah. I like Ron Swanson. I love him, but I'm going to go Office better overall.
All right, next question, Needle Dick.
Well, because of that, I think I'm just going to go ahead and wrap up the segment. That last question, you guys both just said the same thing. So I'm going to have to no points awarded. I guess it ends in a 0-0 tie. And this week, in all seriousness, I'm feeling a little frisky, and I think I might shake things up a bit. How do you guys feel about that, huh?
I don't believe you.
I don't trust
Come on,
you.
I'm going to shake things up. I'm going to mix it up a little bit. I think I'm going to actually pick a winner. I'm tired of winning, so I'm going to pick one.
Oh my God, Needle Dick.
And after careful consideration, I've decided to go ahead and call myself the winner.
Oh, here we go.
Of course. Fucking course.
I think it was a tie, and you guys basically just said the same thing the whole time, so I couldn't logically give you guys
Needle Dick. Needle Dick. Needle Dick.
I don't like it.
Fucking Needle Dick, man. Jesus.
Well, he won.
Like that thing. I don't like it. I'm the king. You can't call the king that.
God damn it.
He probably calls himself Needle Dick, or excuse me, we should call him Needle Dick. And he probably overcompensates for winning all the time because he actually has a needle dick.
Ooh.
Well,
Damn.
That's what my thoughts are.
It's harsh. Well, he does hang out with C.J. Anderson.
All the time, dude. It's really not. I told you he's a fucking idiot.
That's brutal. Savage.
I know who's not going to win.
He's not the one that corrupted the file, by the way.
Yeah, you corrupted the file, asshole.
Shit.
You don't know
You ruined last night's podcast.
You don't know that. C.J. Anderson.
Yes, I do.
I'm sure C.J. Anderson and his fucking smile did it.
Oh, man.
You just hate happiness.
Fuck.
He has a weird head, too.
You know what, gentlemen? Hey, you know what? I should probably mention it. We should probably bring it up. The John Jones news. John Jones?
Ugh.
What the fuck is this, a sandwich shop? Jimmy John's? The John Jones news. We had a nice long discussion about the UFC the other night, and we should at least mention it and talk about our thoughts for a couple minutes on John Jones.
That he's an idiot?
Yeah, we were talking about who we thought was going to win the fight, Cormier and Jones, and then the news broke on Twitter and everywhere else, or on ESPN and everywhere else, and it was just like, well, there goes that fucking, what was the point of that conversation? Do you guys think he recovers from this, or is this kind of like I don't want to say nail in the coffin, I think he might fight again, but is this kind of like the height of his career now, that he won't go anywhere else?
If it comes out,
suspension, right, or something like that.
well, it's not guaranteed. If it ends up that if he did dope, use it was an anti-doping allegation. So, and that means performance enhancing drugs, steroids, whatever the case may be. And I think if his tests come back and they are positive, it'll be a 2-year suspension for him and he'll just retire. I can't imagine a world where he's going to wait 2 years after a 1-year suspension. And I just can't, he's done. I mean, Dana White, after the whole Conor McGregor thing, was really trying to, John Jones was coming back and really trying to build that up and make him the face of the UFC again. And then just completely, he ruined it. I mean, I saw a tweet where he just said, "I'm just sorry." Somebody reported that John Jones tweeted that just after the news broke. He said, "I'm just sorry, ... or something along those lines. And that's all you gotta say. That's it. I mean, if he did it, and he knows at this point if he did it or not, his career is over. He's not gonna wait 2 years. He'll be in his 30s by that time. And
I do think he has to come back in some capacity. He's 29, so yeah, he'll be 31. we've seen fighters, we've seen the Dan Hendersons of the world, not that he's going to be that type of guy, but we've seen fighters go into their 40s and still fight, because it's not a job, they keep in great physical shape. It's not a job where you're getting beat up night in and night out. You wait a few months or 6 months or however long, and then you go in and fight. And you may or may not get too beat up at all in those fights if you're doing well. In the MMA, what is he going to do otherwise? A lot of these guys are going into broadcasting now, calling the fights, whatever.
Coaching.
And, coaching and then also like, advertising, promotions,
Yeah.
If he doesn't come back, I feel like the opportunities for any of those things are hugely stunted. And so I do feel like he has to, at least, even if he's not in the title contention right away or at all again, he has to come back and have some fights and be clean for a while and let people remember that image of him as opposed to what has transpired the last couple of years or last few years with him. I just think it has to happen that way, or he's just gonna fade away into obscurity and he doesn't have much going on for him.
I'm not a big MMA guy. You guys know that for sure. I'm not the smartest. I don't try to say.
Well,
that
we know you're not the smartest.
You can go fuck off and talk to.
You've never won questions with Booze, man.
You can talk to C.H. Anderson. Anyway,
I will. He makes millions of dollars, Gus. What do you do?
Actually, the Horse Viagra sponsorship is paying us very well now, so I'll tell you guys about that afterwards. Anyway,
I like it.
I'm coming about this from like somebody that doesn't know the sport. Why? I don't get why athletes do this. Like all these PEDs, if you know you're gonna get caught, and this is the second violation he's had, right? Of PEDs.
Yeah.
Why? You're losing millions of dollars, dude. Like, what goes through your mind that says, yeah, I know I have to do this so I can. Like, I guess he thinks he has to do it because he needs to get in the best possible shape or whatever. But you just got suspended for a year. You just got back. And, your second fight back, you're doing this again. I don't get it, dude. I just don't get it. It's stupid. He's probably just dumb at this point and should deserve to be retired. That's my argument.
I can't disagree with that necessarily.
Yeah. I don't disagree with it either. I think it's. I agree. What is he doing? People called him before his first suspension. They were saying John Jones might be the pound for pound greatest fighter to ever grace the UFC, and I think it might have been true. Just the way he fought brought so much variety, and you never knew what he was going to do. He could knock you out with a punch or submit you on the ground with a choke or an armbar or whatever the case may be. He had a bag of tricks up there with Georges St-Pierre. Just like...
Yeah, he was ranked number one in the poll that came out, the top 200 fighters.
Yeah, exactly. And so, he's great. One of the greatest that we'll probably ever see, but if he can't stay clean, then it's not going to matter. It's all the work he puts in and all the hype around him is not going to matter if he can't stay clean and just fight normally.
Oh, man.
True.
A legend is over, as I guess I could say. So anything else we got to talk about? The hype? You got something to bitch about?
I bitched about you and your porn. I bitched about... no, I didn't bitch about the Kevin Durant thing, but whatever. Fuck it. I don't care anymore. I just hate fucking everything right now. It's fine. I'm fucking over it. Stop shitting during the podcast.
I'm not shitting during it.
I agree with that.
I'm not even mad. I'm just hopeless. I'm despondent.
Hey everybody, welcome to the After Dark podcast. My name's Gus, and I'm going to go shit real quick. That's what your intro should be every week.
And just leave you alone for 15 minutes.
Just record yourself shitting, and then just put that in the blooper section.
Yeah, just do the ads while you're pooping.
That's good. Horse. Agra. Plop, 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 plop.
I'll just, you know how the Charlie Brown's teacher where she just wah, 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 wah. I'll replace my voice with just farting sounds
There you go. The teacher from South Park too.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Or no, the butt faces from South Park, my bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. I can't stop it. It's something natural.
Oh, you know what? We have a model of the week. There's a couple photos of her in the thing too.
Yeah, in the After Dark podcast chat.
Yes.
Her name is Abigail Ratchford, Ratchford. She's super hot. We ruined that because we thought the podcast was going to come out, and it didn't.
Shut up.
So everybody already knows who the model is.
Man,
thanks a lot for that,
though.
Gus.
No problem. Anytime. You know, it's funny. I've been trying to look for nude photos of her for the longest time, and I haven't been able to. And then you like pop up with that picture where she's, you can see her nipples. So I was like,
that's on her Instagram.
God, you know what, guys? No.
Yeah.
You guys we need to put a few photos of her in the chat again tonight. Some new ones. Do it. Crush it. Abigail Ratchford, my God.
Alright, well, thank you everybody for bearing with us for an extra day. Waiting. It's whatever, I don't know what I'm saying anymore. So,
He's got a shit.
I gotta use the bathroom again.
Jesus, man.
Dude, I had pizza earlier and it's like going right through me again.
Oh my God.
I mean, I think I got food poisoned earlier, and I haven't shit today.
Oh, man.
Or not like during the podcast. I didn't even think about going until like 10 minutes afterwards.
Alright, so that's your fault. Anyway.
No, it's your fault.
It's your fault. You need to poop. You're not pooping enough. That's what your body's telling you.
I poop plenty, but I just can control myself.
Yeah, but see,
you're just like this poop savage that just like can't stop it. You're just like, oh, I'm gonna poop out.
Well, sometimes it happens. You know, you just gotta like go, and you can't control it. You know. Anyway, I see this podcast has become a poop podcast. I'll rename it in the chat. I'll change the logo, and we'll talk about poop.
Well, for you, every episode is the After Poop podcast.
Oh my God!
Oh man,
that's so accurate. Jesus. Holy
it has
shit!
been for sure. Like at least half the episodes I've had this shit before. It just clears me out. Lets me breathe. Well, you know. All right. So anyway, that being said, I want to thank everybody for listening and thank you for bearing with us for our little technical difficulties last night, and for the hype and Booze Man. Toodaloo, motherfuckers. Have a good day. I'm gonna go. Actually, yeah, I need a shit right now.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God, dude.
Let's put that in the credits. Sorry for the way I'm going to shit again.
Let's, so, Booze and I were talking, or I think we put it in Twitter too.
It's like really highbrow humor, so, it might not work.
What are you saying? Are you saying I'm a lowbrow individual?
No.
You knuckle dragger.
Shit, what the hell?
I don't take kindly to those words because I don't understand them.
Which one are you on the evolutionary chart, Booze Man?
I'm the one right before human. Our free agency discussion way better.
Yeah,
I felt like that was definitely more solid.
That is because you weren't talking about Kevin Durant being a shooter and then him being guarded by fucking Klay Thompson.
that was pretty fucking hilarious.
It was, but I was like, what are you saying?
Yeah, that was really dumb.
Kevin Durant's being guarded by every member of his team.
Yeah, that was really stupid, and I'm glad. Well, that's making it on the podcast. This conversation is going to be
I forgot to...
Oh, get the joke? Because, like, you gotta poop all the time?
Yes.
He's just shit. Yeah, he's just shit.
Yeah, no, it's funny you say that because my grandma, she came up to me the other day and she was like, Gus, how's it going? I'm like, going well, why? She's like, how's your bowels lately been? I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, are you pooping too much? I'm like, what? Why? She's like, because like I buy these toilet paper rolls and they don't last very long. And
Oh my God.
I buy the extra large ones that cost me 90 cents more. And you seem to be going through them every day. I'm like, what? I'm not the only one pooping in there. And it's like, yeah, she was like, yeah, I know, but I'm trying to make sure you're okay and not having anything wrong with you because you've been pooping a lot. I'm like, okay, thanks, Grandma. I don't know.
Oh my God!
That,
even
dude,
your
if that